Hi, today I'm answering a question about nurseries or childminders. Um, when I worked for the NHS, I'd quite often would get parents just asking advice and saying what's best for the children. And it's a really difficult question to answer. Um, on a personal experience, I I always thought that I'd choose a childminder for my child. And then I had her, and she's what you might describe as spirited. Um, and I realised as I was going back to work and I needed to think about it that actually probably a nursery environment would be better for her because there'd be more children for her to interact with. And they possibly just got maybe a greater range of interactions. But if she'd been a different personality, if she'd needed that closer bond with a person, I would have very happily sent her to a childminder. And I think it's always really important that you think about your child. And the reality is as well that what you might find is right for one of your children might actually not be the same thing that's right for another of your child. I know if you've got them very close together, that might be a little bit annoying. But you might find that one of your children would do better at nursery and the other with a childminder. So I think childminders offer that closer bond, that it's the same person, and that's same true for parents as well. It's one person that you're dealing with for quite a long period of time. And these are important years. The first few years of a child's life is really important, and building up those bonds and having them feel safe and secure is really important. At the same time, nurseries, they tend to build up relationships with a few different people, and that can be beneficial for some children as well, that they're getting that experience. I think the one thing I would always say is go and visit, go and see what's going on, whether that's a nursery or a childminder. It's really important that you get a feel for what's happening. Things I would be looking for are the interactions with the children. Are they, when a staff member goes into the room, are they engaging the children? Are the children engaging them? I'd also be looking for how the staff are stood, or how the childminders stood. If the children are playing and they're not in there playing with the children, and all that they're doing is supervising, that would start to just sound a few alarms for me. Obviously, observations, people will be stood around, but most of the time they will be interacting and playing with the children. And for young children, a lot of that is down on the floor. So staff should be down on the floor. And you've got to think about as well the setup. Some nurseries, due to their building, are very open plan, and you have to think about whether that would suit your child. Sometimes, especially if there's any underlying needs, actually sometimes smaller groups and not having an open plan is better. It means that they can't flick from activity to activity quite as quickly. Not to say that they don't do their activities, but it makes it easier for you to help them focus, or it makes it easy for the staff to help them focus. And in childminders, I'd be looking to see what sort of activities they have out. I'd be looking to see whether they go outside, if they've got an outside space, because outside space is really important for young children. And I think same with nurseries. I'd be looking for outside space and how they use that outside space. And if they're encouraging children to share and turn take and sit and listen, whether they seem to know the children. I'd be asking about how they manage inappropriate behaviours. They should be supporting children to deal with those behaviours and to give them alternatives. I'm not a fan of children having timeouts or being removed. It's for young children, I think you have to show them the strategies and how they can maybe do something differently. I'd also, I think, be asking about how they would deal with emergency situations. I think that's always something that you do have to think about. So what's their evacuation procedure? What do they do if a child's really hurt themselves? And things like that. Go and see. And I think you generally can get a really good feel of how children interact. And if the children are happy. And it's something that probably at that age actually is just as important as any of the academic side. I wouldn't, when they're really little, be looking for tables and chairs. Children should be active, they should be running, they should be moving, and they can't do that if they're sat at tables and chairs. Yes, learning those skills is important, but there are other skills that they need to be working on before that. So, as I say, go and have a look. Go and see lots of different nurseries and just choose either the nursery or the childminder that you think is best for your child and suits your child the best. So, sorry I can't be much more helpful than that.